Hey everyone, I wanted to get on here and do an updated embellishment book because I have redone my embellishment books. If you remember, and I will link it below, that my embellishment books were in big binders, I think a 3-inch binder. I switched to these 1-inch binders because they are more manageable and they do sit on my shelf. I have labeled them with just some embellishment pieces that fit the color. So this one tells me it's pink and purple. This one tells me that it's like wood grain or black. I've got a green one, and it all depends. Like I don't have a lot of pink and purples because, you know, I have mostly boys. Greens and blues, they have their own because I have a ton of those. So let's look through what I currently have, and then I'm also going to show you how I add to my embellishment books the things that I have done. So again, this was my pink and purple binder, and what I have in here are just 8.5 by 11 page protectors. I picked these up, I think, at Amazon. You can get them at Walmart, really anywhere. And what I've done is just added, I don't know if you can see it, but little bit of ATG on the back. So these pieces here, like at the top, are from LE Studio. I was a part of their monthly subscription. They have an embellishment subscription. So if you do not have a lot of embellishments, I highly recommend you do that. I did that for about a year and was able to stock up a lot on some embellishments. So you can see I've got some LE Studio stuff here, but then I've also just pulled in anything that is purple. I've got some puffy hearts here, some bigger chipboard pieces. I don't have a lot of purple. I only have like two pages of purple, and there's like no sticky at all on this one. So let's put a little bit. So sometimes when that happens, like this one doesn't. These pop dots are very cheaply made, so I'm just going to go ahead and take those off. Add ATG to the back of it, and then stick it back down. And then in my pink section, I have no issues cutting up strips. Like this came with a whole strip of a bunch of different colors, and I just cut all the colors and put the 2 pinks in here. I did make the mistake when I first started by adding, so most of these are die cuts, but I did make the mistake of adding stickers directly to the page protector. I have to be very careful with those to make sure that they don't rip or anything like that. You can also see, like right here, I wasn't that, oh, this one's upside down. This one wasn't really, wasn't very careful, and so you can see I've kind of torn the page protector there. So it happens, but it's not anything that I'm too concerned about. So what I normally like to do is, just as I flip through this, just kind of show you, hey, look at that. Oh my goodness, this is my life lately. Okay, so I have a bunch of different, you know, just different embellishments in the pinks and the purples here. So let me show you how I get my embellishments in here. What I normally do is I have this case, and I don't even know where I got this from. It's a little cloth thing, maybe the Dollar Tree or Target Dollar Spot or something like that. And anytime that I have, again, sometimes it's weird stuff ends up in there. Anytime that I have just extra pieces, I throw them in here. Like I picked up some of these Freckle Fawn tags from probably one of their like clearance sales or flash sales or something like that. So those are in here. I've got some Freckle Fawn chipboard. I've got sheets of stickers that I just kind of stuck in here. I've got full Girl Scout cookies, or Girl Scouts. I have some ideas for these. I have some photos that I need to use. Sometimes I just stick the entire book in here because I really don't have a place for it. Let's see, I have chipboard pieces that I've almost finished, and I plan to put in the in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with, I think it's probably going to be easiest if I start with just like this stack right here. So I need a better solution for my word stickers like these, because I don't know what to do with them. So what I like to do is, this is going to cause lots of waste, but I'm going to go ahead and just open up all of these packages. So I'm going to go ahead and take a break real quick because crinkling, probably not something that you want to hear on the video. So just give me 1 second. Okay, so I have all of those separated now, and don't throw these away just yet because you may be able to use these in your embellishment books, and I'll show you that in just a second. So then what I'll do is, like, these are gonna go probably in my white bin. This will go in my black bin. So I'm just gonna start making piles. And when I get to things like this, I am going to go ahead and cut these apart. And so I'll cut right down the center here. I like using my trimmer as much as possible, and then going back in and cutting as needed with scissors. Obviously not going to have you guys watch this in its entirety, but then what I'll do is, and it's okay if you cut a little bit because you can see that it definitely has a line around it, so it's okay. And it's better if you leave it on the backing and then put ATG here because it'll adhere better to your albums. So I'm going to go ahead and start my piles here. Cut more just so that you cut the rest of these out so you can start to see my piles. And this last one here. Okay. So we're going to put that one in the red, yellow, pinks, and green. All right, so you can see that I'm going to start to build these piles up. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll come back and show you how I work a next step, because these are pretty simple, kind of self-explanatory, but I definitely want to show you guys. I have this full pack here of letter stickers and other sticker pieces and how I'm going to work those in, as well as some scraps in here. I have this paper here, and green is always a good color for me. I use it a lot, green, blues, things like that for the boys. And I'm going to show you what I do with pattern paper like this. Definitely not going to use this side, way too busy, but show you how I get these pieces of scraps in my embellishment books too for things that I know I'm going to use. So I'll come back after I have cut all these out and show you guys how I do that next step. All right guys, so I got all those done, and you can kind of see my piles here, and I actually started working on another set of stickers. This collection, Imagine Us, not sure if the layout has gone up or not, but these were kind of the leftover pieces that I had from this collection. It is super old, but what I wanted to show you was I go ahead and throw those in there. So I've got some watermelon and cherries. I've got this little sticker that says cherries. But I did also want to show you that sometimes, like, I have this homegrown and Life's a Garden Dig It. Like, I feel like both of these are garden theme. And I do have this embellishment book that I have where it has kind of all kinds of colors on the side, and that gives me the indication that it is more themey. And so I have a birthday page. I actually have a couple of those, so a couple of birthday pages, so I can pull in here if I'm looking for like a happy birthday or things like that, or if I have collections where I've really exhausted, I've used all that I want to use on it, and I want to still save a couple of pieces that I didn't use. I'll go ahead and throw it in here. I've got this, just is like all over the place, different colors. I don't tend to use this a lot, but it's here just in case. But what I wanted to show you is, I think I have a garden section. So I've got like travel, some dogs, some kind of boy theme there, some dinosaurs, dad and brother. I'm gonna go ahead and put this here because I knew I had a rainbow section. So what I do is I just use my ATG gun, and I just put like one little strip there, and I'm gonna stick it right there with the rest of the rainbows. And I have farm here. This is like cooking stuff, summer stuff. I could have swore I had a garden section, but I guess this is like farm. Actually, this might work because it has food like eggs and morning partner. I feel like it's more farmy than garden. But the other one that I was looking at was this one. And this is definitely farm as well. So I do not have a garden. So what I'm going to do is, that's farm, This goes together. So I'm going to put one right here. So let me show you what I do when I come up with new ideas or new items. Okay, so I actually picked up both of these at Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby had this 100 pack of 3-ring binders on clearance for $2.74. And I knew I was going to use those. I actually have some other page protectors in here as well. So I'm just going to grab one out. And then I also got this pack of paper. It is also from Hobby Lobby, but it's just 8.5 by 11 cardstock. So I do buy the thicker cardstock. If you're at Hobby Lobby, you'll see it like there's like a kind of, it's more expensive, but it's definitely thicker. So I just go ahead and put the white piece of cardstock in here, and this gives me a clean background to be able to see things, because so if I didn't have it, they would all kind of mesh together. So then I'm going to go ahead and put both of these garden themes, and because they're so large, I'm going to do 2 strips on these, but I'm going to go ahead and just put my homegrown there, and life is a garden, dig it. So I want to show you that I do have this bee here. So there was another bee in this collection. So I'm going to go ahead and just stick him here, because I thought, you know what, if I am going to use this title, I wouldn't mind having another bee as well. So I just wanted to show you that one since I was working through it, and then also show you how I pull through some of the pieces that are not like these, but very similar. So this one here, I started cutting this up, and what I'm doing is just going around the edge of this, since it's not really an even piece, and just kind of cutting it out. Doesn't have to be perfect or anything like that. Just getting it cut down small enough. All right, and then I'm going to take a look at it. This is a kiwi. I'm going to put that in my green pile. My dig it, I might put that back in the garden pile. I'll think about that. This is just peachy, so I'm going to put this in the orange pile. And I'm going to just continue along, opening up packages again. This one is on a clear acetate, so again, cutting it up. And when I do have these pieces that are similar, like I have, this is canvas stickers, I'm going to make sure that in the book I have these next to each other, so that you know, I can use them coordinating if I happen to have a watermelon layout that I want to use, or a piece of watermelon. So again, just going through, throwing them in there. I really like these canvas pieces, and I'm sad that I didn't get to use more with the collection. I won this collection a long time ago. I don't even know if Imagine Us is still in, around, but they had a contest where you could get the entire collection, and they sent me everything, like every piece of ephemera, every piece of paper. I wish they would have sent me, they sent me 1 sheet of paper, and I wish I would have either bought more or been sent more, like maybe 2 sheets, since I am a double page scrapbooker. So I'm just going to throw these over here, because I know that both of those, I don't know if you can see them, but my pile's over here. I know that that rainbow is also going to go over there with that other rainbow. And then I have Fresh and Fun, and even though this one has green and orange on it, I'm going to stick it in the green pile because there's more green than orange. Then I've got some cherries here, and again I have those cherries in a couple of different pieces here. I've got this sticker here that has some cherries on it, and then I also have this. So again, when I'm putting that in the book, I'm going to make sure that they're all close together. So if I am searching for that, I can remember to use all of them together. All right, so another piece of kiwis, I'm going to stick that there. And then I do have a floral section, so I'm going to stick this in the floral section as well. So I'm going to keep going on, and I'll check back in a second. All right guys, so you can do this same technique with your chipboard too. So I'm going to peel off the top piece of this chipboard and try to leave as much of the chipboard pieces on the backing, because that's what you want to keep. This I can toss, you can keep it if you want, but I have so much stuff. I'm trying to get rid of stuff. All right, so again, going back now, I have it on here, and you can do one of 2 things. You can save these. I have a couple of these that I've saved, or you can just go ahead and cut them right up. So that's what I'm going to do. Just going to slide, and it makes it super easy to slide right around it. And I will tell you, you want to keep it on this backing, because you put it on that page protector, it will tear that page protector. So I'm going to try to save some of this because sometimes you need little pieces. I'm going to keep that one there. And these cherries and flowers, I'm going to, let's see what I can do here. Cut as close as I can to this one. Now this one is kind of another one that's kind of hard because it's very green, but the pieces in there are orange, or I'm sorry, strawberries. They're red strawberries. So I'm not sure where I'm going to stick that. So I might hang on to that just for a second and see what I come up with. So I've got these cherries here, and then I always save over to the side some pieces as well. So let's see what I have over here. Right here. So I have this piece, and I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, just use that. So I've saved quite a bit. So I have these pieces that I can use for later as well. So I'm going to stick this in my red pile. And go ahead and trash those two little ones and stick those over there. So I'm going to stick this over here to the side. Maybe put it in the full embellishment where it's a bunch of different colors, or I may stick it in the red and green. It all depends. Alright, so this is the next one I'm working on, and with this one I went ahead and pulled the backing off. This was the backing piece. I went ahead and, or I guess the top, really not really backing. I want to keep it on the backing. So I went ahead and pulled the top piece off, and what I'm doing now, because the backing is actually staying on the stars, so I'm just pulling the backing away from the star itself and leaving the backing piece on it. And so then putting it in the color pile that it matches. I feel like none of this is rocket science, but sometimes if you're not told how to do something, you know, you don't know how to do it. And so these things are kind of ways that I've figured out how to make sure that my embellishment books are really good embellishment books, you know, have good embellishments that I'm going to actually pull out of. I do a lot of collections, like scrapbook with collections and stuff. So I tend to use my embellishment books as fillers. And so that's why I really want like solid color things, so that I can just add them in when as needed. So that's what I look for when I'm shopping Freckled Fawn or LA Studio, those type of companies. When they have their sales, that's what I'm looking for, is things that are solid. So I'm going to put both of these in the blue pile and this one in the yellow pile. You know, when you're going through things and looking at them, like sometimes I save stuff and I'm like, I don't know that I'm going to actually use these pieces. Like this is something that, I don't even know what these are. I think they're supposed to be fabric. So what I'm going to do with this is I have a box over here, which you're not going to be able to see on camera. It's sitting over, you know, next to my table. And I do a big donation. I try to do it like once a year, just so that I can get like crap out of my room. I feel like sometimes if you have too much stuff in your scrap area, then you get overwhelmed with the amount of stuff. So I will go through my scrapbook stuff and take stuff out that I know I'm not going to use. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut this piece right here. Wax paper's not the easiest to cut. Yeah, so I go ahead and just cut, you know, get stuff out of my room because I feel like I am more productive if I have less stuff and less stuff to go through. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this. So I do put these in the donation pile, and I donate to two places. First, I will allow my local friends to go through it, and I don't ask for money or anything like that. It's really just to get it out. Most of the stuff that's in there are collection kits that I have gotten at least 4 to 5 layouts out of it, so I feel like I've gotten my money's worth, and there's really just kind of scraps left. And if I can give it away and somebody else can take it, then go for it, because, you know, I'd rather you get use out of it than me trying to continue to figure out what I'm going to do with it and, you know, have space for it in my room, which never happens, right? We always are running out of space. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start going through some of these and adding them down. And what I'm going to do for these pink pieces is what I'm working on first, is I'm just going to find spaces and add them through. So as I'm doing this, I'll finish that story that I was telling you. So I first, you know, offer it to my local scrapbook friends, see if they want anything, and you know, if they are going to use it, I'll gladly take it. I've gotten what I want out of it, so I don't feel like I am, you know, giving away money or anything like that, because I've used it and I've gotten great use out of it. I've gotten multiple layouts from it and things like that, so I don't feel like I need to ask for money or anything like that. So that's the first thing that I do. Then once my local scrapbook friends go through it, I will find a local daycare or school that is willing to take it. And so going back to these pieces here, my scrapbooking friends probably won't find interest in stuff like this, but 4- and 5-year-olds love things like this. So they love having, you know, items and stickers and just playing with different, you know, fun stuff. So they can have those at the daycare center. So usually I end up with a huge box to donate to a daycare center or an elementary school. It all depends. I used to donate to Eli's school, and then way back when I was with Kevin, I would donate to Jack and Adam's daycare, things like that. So I don't know necessarily what I'm going to do this time, because this is the first time that Eli's now in middle school, and his art class is very, very different than it was back when, you know, he was in elementary school, because they are learning different things. Like yesterday he told me that he was learning about drawing, and they were drawing different shapes and learning different shapes and things like that. So, you know, there's just different ways that things can be done, and donations, and I feel like I am very fortunate and I do have a lot of stuff, a lot of scrapbook stuff. So if I can, you know, make somebody else's day with providing them with my hand-me-downs, I will gladly do that. So this is where, like I said before, I was trying to make sure that I get all 3 of these kiwis right there together. And, you know, sometimes I try to match the colors, and then other times I'm just like, I'm just going to get it down. I do try to always fill in spaces before I start to a whole new sheet. I don't know why. It's type A personality maybe, or maybe it's just, I feel like if I can stuff full a page as much as possible, then I feel like there's a lot more to look through when I'm looking through stuff and, you know, trying to find stuff, as opposed to it all being spread out. Which, so I always try to kind of fill in those gaps as well. And so this also is where, like, I didn't cut this one all apart because they're, you know, a big sheet of green, but it also means that I've got to find a spot big enough to hold all of them. So I'm going to put that there, and that one's going to be too big. That's too big. So this is how I, you know, put my pre-cut embellishments together, where it is, you know, very simple to cut out. Once I get all of these down, the next thing I'll do is show you guys how I use my die cut machine to make my own embellishments with scrapbook paper. So I will finish putting these together and come back and show you that. Alright guys, I wanted to show you another way that I do things. So I have this piece of acetate, I think is what it's called, that I have adhered down. And so if I have something like that, I do go ahead and take these off the backing, because they will stick directly to that, and I can not worry about having these backings on there as well. So that's what I'm doing now, is while I'm adding these pieces in. And then again, when I don't, I'm adding them up here. So I'm going to put all of these peaches together up here. And I felt like I put adhesive on all of these, but I guess I did not. I have a big piece here that I'm gonna, and sometimes, you know, I move things around, I'll pick things up so that I can make sure that everything fits, and, you know, making sure that it's taking up all the space that I can. So I'm gonna move this little guy down here so I have more space up there. I love these little tags with the either the grid or the what I call like notebook paper. I feel like those are the best because they are perfect for a little tiny journaling, all kinds of different stuff. So still working through getting this done. I have a movie on and just you know, putting things together. So let's see, I need to figure out a place to put both of these. I'll put that one there, but I really want these two together, so I think I'm gonna move these two. And let's see, I have a space elsewhere to stick these. And I always like, if I do have, so this is my orange and red book, so I always leave a blank space here. So this is the end of the orange, and then I'll start with the red. So even though this is a blank space, I don't consider that blank because that gives me the indication that I'm moving into the next color section. Where am I going to put these two? I'm also okay with, let's see if I can fit it here, putting them like sideways. You know, I probably wouldn't use the label that way, but for it to be in the book, oh, I can stick it right there. And, you know, it's okay because I know that I will probably use it a different way. All right, guys, so this I think is going to be the final part, and it's going to show, I'm going to show you how I take some of my scraps and stuff. And when you think about scraps, there's so many things that you can do. I want to show you this piece here was actually a wood veneer that I put in my wood veneer pack. But it came with this little like geometric navy blue shape. And so I was like, hey, I could totally use that to make tags with. Other pieces are like the backing from here. I'm going to cut out some of this because that's a really pretty green. These flip-flap memory protectors 4x6. This is like, I mean, gold basically, you know. It's a cream color polka dot. Gorgeous piece. I've got two of those, so I'm going to use that. Another piece of scrap that I'm going to show you how I'm going to use that on a piece, and it's just a piece of scrap paper. And then I'm also going to show you how you can use some of the cards. I'm going to cut out this freckled fawn part and show you some of those. So let me pull out a couple of different ones. And what I normally like to do, most of my dies that I have are basic shapes. So if you do not have a die cut machine like a Cricut or a Cameo, and I do have I have a Cameo, it's so much work to get it out, get the computer out. And so most of the time I just want to cut some basic shapes. So that's what I started out with, was just basic shapes. So I have some squares here, rectangles, some funky shapes. But what I normally like to do when I'm just doing these kind of basic shapes, I think I'm actually going to do the blue in the star. So I'm just going to lay it down, and I find that the best thing to do when you are doing shapes that you don't know what you're going to be using them for is the smaller the better, because usually you can take these, make parts of your embellishment cluster. So just going to run it through the die cut real quick, and I'm not going to do all of these obviously on camera, but you can see that it cuts out. And you know, this is just basically a piece of paper that you can, you know, make die cuts with. So I'm going to put this in my blue pile over here and then move on to the next one. So I'm going to definitely come back and cut some more stars with this. But what I really want to show you is how you can use like things like this. So let me find a tag real quick that I can use. My favorite, this is my favorite tag shape, that just classic tag. So let's see if I can get this one. Yep, I think that will work. So when you're doing things like this, you definitely want to add a little bit of washi tape to hold down your piece, especially since I want a specific part of the tag. Sorry if my head was just in the way. I want to make sure that that was down. So you run this through real quick. So when you are going through and putting stuff in your embellishment books, just take a look at what, you know, what packaging you have, because that's another great way to get tags. And so you can see, or maybe hopefully it will focus, there is a little bit of the N from the freckled fawn piece, right? But in that swirl, you really can't tell. Let me poke out the circle piece there. So now I just have a white tag that has a little bit of pink design at the top there. So always a great, and I probably won't use the rest of this because this is just like white cardstock and I have a ton of that, obviously. Another one that I'm gonna do this one. Yeah, let's try this one. I actually might be able to get two. So definitely when you are trying to get a certain piece, you want to use that washi tape to hold it down. I'm actually probably going to be able to get another piece like that. So this here, again, you can see, and this will be great just tucked into, you know, like if this was my layout here, think about how it would be tucked into the side there with those numbers sticking out. Really cool. And I actually probably am able to get one more. This time, I'm going to turn it this way so that it gives it the design at the top that is white at the top. So let me show you what I mean. So because I did it the other way, it actually has like where you can see here, this will be good for tucking because I didn't really pay attention to that, as well as I wanted the numbers. There we go. So, you know, it kind of gives you that space down there that's kind of awkward. But this one, because I turned it over, the space is up here and then the grid goes all the way to the bottom. So again, another one that can go in my white pile to go in my white embellishments. So here's another piece that, again, I'm going to do a bigger tag with this one. This was the backing of one of my wood veneer as well. So, you know, just lining it up in a spot that you think will be nice. And then this could go in my pink embellishments. And so now you have these scraps that are actually being used. Oh no! I think I just tore this is like really thin paper, so probably not the best, but look how pretty that is. And you know, tags are just classic. I feel like you can really get so much out of them. Here's another piece. Again, I'm going to use that. You can also take 3x4 cards, like this one here, and see if you can cut them in a shape, because while this flamingo is beautiful the way that she is, I think she would be better as a tag. It's going to cut off too much. I love that shape, but it tends to cut off a lot. So let me go with this one. So, and I wanted to show you too, if you are wanting, that one's too big, but don't fret about it covering up the entire shape or doing the entire shape, because you may be able to use parts of it. Alright, so I'm gonna end up using this one. Had to cut away for a bit because I had to find one that I really liked. So I'm gonna see, I'm gonna definitely put lots of washi down on this one since it is very close to the edge. You ever wonder why some washi tape sticks really well and then others, it's like, not gonna stick today for you. Alright, so this one is a really big piece. We'll see if it turns out right. And so now I've come really, really close to the edge. It's sticking. So her tail got cut off a little bit, but she definitely is a beauty in this shape as well. So I'm going to do one more, and that is wood grain. If you have scraps of wood grain, these are perfect for tags. All right, so I'm going to cut off a piece here. Let's do the wood grain this way. And I want to show you that you don't necessarily need the full piece. You can just cut off, and you know, down at the bottom here, I don't have the edge like I want, but if I'm going to be tucking this in or maybe even cutting it, it might be okay. And then on the back here, I've got some grain paper, so love using wood grains for that. All right, guys, so that is my embellishment books. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I would be happy to answer any questions that you have. I have a big old mess that I have to clean up, and I also have my little one, you probably just heard him, come in the door, so have to get back to evening duties with him. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you are having a scrappy day.